Hello and welcome back to Gamers Remorse. Today we're checking out the game Oceanos. Oceanos is a card drafting, set collection, skill tree game for 2 to 5 players, and it takes about 30 to 45 minutes to play. In Oceanos, each player takes on the role of a submarine captain exploring the seas for unique creatures, coral reefs, and treasure, all the while avoiding the dreaded Kraken. The game starts with each player having their starter submarine in front of them, with a fuel token, 3 stacks of cards, level 1, level 2, and level 3, and a diver. The treasure is placed into the bag and set aside for now. The first player is chosen at random and called the captain. The other players draw the number of cards as they have periscopes +1. So, for the first round, the total number of cards for each player is 2 cards. However, the captain draws no cards. 2 cards are drawn, and in fact, these are remnant from a previous game, so we'll go ahead and wipe those out. And then the other player draws 2 cards. Also, we'll go ahead and wipe these out. The captain gets no cards at this time. Of the 2 cards shown, a player chooses which card they would like to put underneath their submarine. So, for conversation's sake, we'll go ahead and choose that one. The other card will go ahead and get sent to the captain for now. The other player will then look at their 2 cards and determine which to play. They'll choose this one for conversation's sake. These 2 are then handed to the captain. The captain then gets to choose which of their cards they want to take. They will choose this one. So that one will go there. This one then gets discarded. Then all players reveal the cards that they have chosen, and it sits in front of them as such. The second card could be played before it was discarded by using a fuel token from their submarine. However, in this case, it makes no sense to do that, so we won't do that. So they'll go ahead and discard. When placing cards, players need to be aware of several rules. The game consists of 3 rounds of 5 turns each. On each turn, you draft cards as was shown, then pass cards to the captain. When playing cards, the objective is to accumulate points. 2 points are given for each unique animal shown on the cards. There's another animal over here. So as the game is played, 5 cards will be played in subsequent drafting rounds. 2 points are given for each unique animal seen. However, this is limited based upon your submarine. As can be seen here, you're allowed 3 for this starting aquarium size. The aquarium size can be upgraded, which we'll discuss in a bit, so you can score more points for more unique animals. Reef icons also appear on cards. Also on the cards are treasure, as shown here and here. Treasure is collected at the end of the game in vertical stacks. And treasure tokens are drawn from the bag based upon the number of vertical stacks shown. So over time, when you go through levels 2 and 3, of course, no, there we go. If they were to send their diver down, they would then collect 2 treasure from the bag based on this column of cards. At the end of the round, all unique animals are scored and the propulsion bonus is added. The propulsion can be upgraded from a 0 to a, oh, here we go. Here's a 5 for a level 3. The upgrades mentioned can be achieved through crystals and bases on cards. Crystals are shown here in the colors of green or yellow, and bases are added as well over time through drafting as well. When a base appears and a crystal was before it, despite the number of cards in between, a piece may be upgraded from a level 1 to a level 2. So this propulsion may be upgraded from a 0 to a 2. Or if you get 2 crystals of 2 different colors before it, say a green and a yellow, the 2 can be upgraded to a 5. Finally, the Kraken icon on the cards are used to determine which player gets the Kraken demerit applied at the end of the round. The Kraken token has a random negative value from 0 to -2 for round 1. In this example, it would be -1. However, as you move up in number of rounds, the negative point value can increase from -2 to -4. After 3 rounds of 5 phases of drafting and placement, the final scores are tallied, and the player with the highest score wins. As you've seen in a previous clip, how to play the game, it was a pretty sweet-looking game. What did you guys think? What do you guys think about gameplay? Let's start there.
Go ahead.
I enjoyed it. The card drafting with the option of like upgrading your submarine as you kind of went along made the card drafting even more interesting. Not just going after points, but kind of building towards the future as well.
What did you think of the change on the vanilla card drafting mechanic that of 7 wonders, right? Mm-hmm. Take a card, pass left. Instead with the captain part of it, right? You're giving a specific person.
Yeah, that I think it was really interesting because then you could kind of control what you were forcing them to choose from.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And like, you know, I think we had an issue where like Brian was going after Coral as well as I was, and it was, you know, choosing to not give him any Coral or make him take, you know, like Kraken Eyes and things like that as well. So
it absolutely gave you a higher fidelity of how you would affect people across the table.
Yeah.
One of the big complaints about 7 Wonders is, okay, I'm playing my game here. The right person gives me my cards. I give my stuff to the left person. Maybe I can affect the person 2 over, but you can't affect the person across the table from you. I mean, you could during the cross-table thing, but like 7 people away, I don't know. Yeah. So the captain's mechanic really changed that entirely from a foundational standpoint. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I thought as far as the card drafting goes, I like that idea of hate drafting, where it's like, oh man, like, I don't want him to have this, but I don't need it.
Right.
So I'm going to take it solely so he can't have it.
Reef cards.
Mostly reef cards, occasionally treasure. Both of you guys just hate drafted treasure from me.
To be fair, the 2 times I did that, it was reef on the treasure.
No.
So.
Yeah.
And then also, like, there were rounds where, and I know it happened to me, I think it probably happened to you guys as well, where you're the captain, and you get the cards from the other players, and all of them have Kraken Eyes. So you can't not get a Kraken Eye.
Right, so you're forced to take it.
So I thought that was really fascinating. Beyond the drafting, I really liked variable ship upgrades.
Yes.
So, like, when you look at all of our final ships, we all went different directions. So, like, Eric was like, I want to get as many cards in my hand as possible. I was like, I want to have as much fuel as possible. Sean just was like, I want everything second level.
I really upgraded the tail end piece of it, right? So the automatic points I was after.
I thought that was fascinating, and seeing how you had that choice of which way you want to go.
Yeah, that was really unique. I was afraid it was going to be a bit fiddly, you know, when we were punching it out and everything and starting to assemble it, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is maybe more work than what it's worth, but the mechanic really came through on that. Yeah. I enjoyed that. Which leads it leads into artwork. Well, I mean, it's a beautiful game. It's yellow.
Yellow, yeah.
They're second to none just about, it seems, anymore.
Yeah, they're one of my favorite companies art-wise. So.
Yeah.
Resident artist, critique?
Yeah, so I thought it was, I loved how they personalized the fish.
Right.
Like, I almost say they Pixarized. Like, the fish have a personality, as if they were, like, at Pixar kind of a film. And it's a similar artwork as well. But everything was very differentiable. You're never like, is this a shark or a dolphin? Like, they're all different enough that there's no question. Everything is very recognizable. Where things are located, it is always constant. Yep. So upgrade information, always bottom right. Treasure chests, always bottom left. Coral, always top left. Kraken's always top right. So you have to try to figure out what's what.
Yeah.
So I thought it was laid out beautifully. You guys agree, disagree?
I totally agree. My one beef issue, well, 2 I guess I have. First of all, going to the iconography, the 2 crystals, one's green, one's yellow. why not pick something more completely opposite? We had mentioned red and green, but that's obviously a bad choice because of red-green colorblind. But like yellow and red, like those are pretty obvious to distinguish. You wouldn't want blue because of blue background, but something that may be a little bit more obvious. My eyes just kind of blend yellow and green together.
Because my other thought, too, is the crystals all have the same central icon in them, which is red. So if you were to do a red crystal, that wouldn't show up as well. But then they could have done a yellow center icon or something.
Right.
So there were options, but I feel like what they went with, it was different enough that I could distinguish simply.
Yeah. And this is cool. I just noticed this. On the crystal, there's a left and a right fracture to it. So... the other beef I had is that the ships don't exactly fit well together all the time.
Yeah.
There were some puzzle pieces that mismatched. But, I mean, maybe that's hard to do in production.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. It was still a beautiful, beautiful game. And the chit is nice and thick and crunchy. Crunchy? Is that the right word?
I wouldn't use the word crunchy.
Not
Well,
crunchy.
we did try to bite it.
Chunky? I think chunky is what I would use.
I would say sturdy.
Sturdy? Stout? Anyway. Pacing?
Yeah.
What'd you guys think? What do you think?
I think it paced really well. I mean, card drafting is going to take a little bit of time, I think, just because you're always going to be weighing your options. But I think it was fast enough where it didn't really matter too much. I think the final part, the final times that it kind of came down to taking a while was the captains kind of
True.
Like especially once everyone's got their upgraded periscopes, and you're handing the captain 3 cards each.
Yeah, you end up with 6.
Yeah, so you're always looking through and weighing your options. So I think that's really the only drawback to the amount of time spent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there were a couple times where people were like, "Hey, sorry, I'm taking so long," and there were noticeable delays, but it wasn't as bad as a lot of games can be.
Yeah.
So, and I like that it's fairly simultaneous. The captain is only waiting on the other players, and the other players are waiting on the captain. So it's not like you go one person, next person, next person, next person. Mm-hmm. So I thought that worked well.
Yeah. Right. And I don't know if this fits in with pacing, but I think if you played with more of a general audience that I think this was intended for, sort of a casual gamer rather than a hardcore gamer, it would go a lot faster, right? I mean, the artwork, the simplicity, all of that leads towards more casual gamers. Yeah. So imagine playing this with Katie and Dawson and those folks. It would have just clicked along, I think. So, that said, theme. It's kind of an interesting theme. We kind of touched on the artwork as kind of like this steampunkian underwater Nautilus type thing. Yeah. Right? I think it's in there, I guess. I did feel like I was kind of, going through the ocean floor or whatever, looking for sea creatures.
Well, kind of segueing, between theme and artwork. I mean, you got the cards that build the underwater.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Cinematic, and so.
Yep.
And it's similar, another yellow game, Kamagawa. I don't know how you pronounce it. I always pronounce it wrong.
Sorry, Bruno.
But it's similar, where as you build it, the piece just keeps continuing.
Yeah.
So it's something the last few games they've made. I think that's genius, and it's really good design.
Mm-hmm. Man, we're running out of time. Okay, replayability? Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty in-depth, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many different ways you could play it and so many strategies based on what parts you upgrade. And the drafting always keeps you on your feet because maybe you'll get a rough time of it. Yeah. And so you'll go for more risk mitigation strategy rather than maximizing playability.
Yeah. And that's what I love, too. I guess we didn't mention this in the gameplay, but they give you a free base at the end of the rounds.
Right.
To mitigate that, I never got what I needed to upgrade.
Yeah, I never got the base.
There are more crystals than there are bases, so they figure you'll probably get a crystal. It's a fairly safe bet if you so choose.
Yep.
And that helps the replayability because you don't get someone who just totally got spurned their first round and refuses to play again.
Mm-hmm. To increase strategy as well, it would be interesting to start out with, all right, everyone gets one free upgrade to start the game. That would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Either way, replayability we just talked about. So, any final comments? Final thoughts?
Yeah,
No?
I think it's a great game for the target audience as well as beyond. I feel like we are not the typical casual gamer, but we greatly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think casual gamers would as well.
Right.
So it kind of spans that.
So this is an Antoine Bauza game, and this fits along with his other simplistic point salad games, I would say. Kind of a Takedo Seven Wonders, if you played any of those. It's very simple from its abstract point of view, but it's how you go about it that determines how well you play the game.
Yeah.
And obviously everyone loves it, so check this out if you get a chance.
I'll be buying it.
He'll be buying it. I mean, what better pitch can you have than that? All right, thanks for tuning in, guys.
Clock going.
Hello, YouTube viewers. How are you? Are you doing well?
And B-roll.
Sky, I could fly twice as high. See in a book. Just take a look.
Starting the timer. And people are like, why is Brian looking off camera? Because there's a timer.
All right.
Doesn't want to look at Sean.